Hey, welcome to the Pharmacy Residency Podcast, member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Again, if you need help with the letter of intent or even your CV, you can go to my new site. There's still residencyhelp.com, which will still give you some things, but what I'm doing is I'm creating a course at residency.teachable.com/courses, and you can go there and you'll still see some of the things that you need to help you along. But what I'm doing this year, instead of just taking payment for work on helping people with their letters of intent, what I'm doing is letting you into the course so that you have this much broader sense and better education in the entire residency process. And then, of course, I'll still help you with your 2 letters of intent as you get those. But you can start the course now, and this way you're much better prepared for residency applications. So I got a note from someone that the new numbers are out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it says that we went from 0 growth to -3%, and so a decline in employment. And I wanted to go deeper into that because when we think about employment and we see a broad number, we realize, well, some people are working and some people are in jobs and some people are not going to be in jobs. And what students always ask me is, well, where should I be targeting? What should I be going towards? Is the education I'm getting going to get me there? So what I want to do is kind of show you a little bit about what's going on with the pharmacist profession, and then compare a few similar occupations, give you some data there, and then go deeper into the data and show you exactly where to find it for yourself. So let's start with what happened. The median pay still says it's $128,000 per year, $61.58 per hour. I don't know if that's true or not. I assume that if they did it, then it's true. But I know that starting pay, if someone's working 32 hours and so forth, could not be anywhere near that. But again, if we're going to just kind of take for, not granted, but take it that this is correct, then we just say that, okay, salaries have not gone down for those that are employed, so it's a matter of getting employed in these areas. The big number is the -3% in job outlook over the next 10 years and an employment change of 10,500. And what the quick thing that a lot of people do is say, okay, so there's going to be 3% fewer pharmacists in the retail and 3% less in hospital and so forth. But it actually doesn't go that way. It's going to be many in one sector and then some smaller increases in others and then staying level in other sectors. But we'll look at those in a second. Okay. So that's the pharmacist occupation. And then just comparing it to other occupations, pharmacists are down 3%. All occupations are up 4%. So that's where we should be if we were at average. And then up 10% for healthcare diagnosing or treating practitioners. So it makes sense that as a profession, we are trying to get from here, where many of us are dispensing pharmacists, to here, where you are in the 10% growth, where healthcare diagnosing and treating. So those are the places that a pharmacist would want to be. But you'll see a lot of pushback from those other people, the nurse practitioners, the PAs, the physicians who have these jobs that don't want pharmacists coming in and taking their employment or doing something to that. So what does pharmacist percentages look like regarding, compared to physicians, nurses, PAs, and nurse practitioners? So first, I'm going to go a little bit later to down here in the bottom corner to get data, but from the job outlook tab at the very bottom is get data, employment by industry, and that's what breaks it down. But let's just look at those other numbers real quick. If you're a physician or surgeon, it's going up about 4%, so that's about the average that we saw from this bar here, total all occupations. Nurses up 7%, so a bit faster than average. But when we look at physician assistants, 31% increase in job outlook, and then nurse practitioners, nurse anesthetists, nurse midwives at 45%, which is much faster than average, showing that there's a significant need for primary care practitioners. So again, let's look again at where we want to be. We want to be in this dark blue, healthcare diagnosing or treating practitioners, which is where our pharmacy schools are trying to take us. So let's look to the data. Okay, so I'm looking here and I see the different areas. And what I like to do is take the employment number, and this is in hundreds of thousands. So we've got total employment 321,000 pharmacists. Okay, and we look at retail and we see it's 181,000. And then we look at projected 2029 employment and we see 163,000. So that's no surprise. But what is important to know is that if we're down 10,000 jobs, or 10,500, whatever it was, and we subtract 181 and 163, then we see that we're having an 18,000 reduction. Well, if that's a reduction of 18,000, there has to be an increase somewhere else. And that's what I know that the students and the graduates are looking for. So where are those increases? Okay. So one of the places where you're going to see those increases is in hospitals, state, local, and private. You see it going from 84,000.3 to 87,000.7. Understandably, why people want to get residencies. So the hospitals are projecting an increase in the number of pharmacists. It's very clear, especially in a bubble system like the hospital, that a pharmacist can cause significant cost savings well above what they make, even if they're making $100,000 or so dollars. Ambulatory care, although we've been certainly impacted by the face-to-face, as telemedicine comes along, we see ambulatory care is from 15.4 to 18.6%. So what you can do is you can go through these and kind of see, okay, well, this was where I was planning to go. It looks like I'm going to have a decrease, it's going to stay the same, or it's going to increase. So as you're kind of looking at your future and your profession, you're trying to think, okay, well, where is it that I see growth? Is that something that I'm interested in? Something that other people do as well is, instead of going under pharmacist occupation, for example, I wouldn't be considered, although I have a pharmacy license, I would be considered as part of the education sector. So I might go in and say, okay, well, let's go into the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and instead of putting in nurse or something like that, let me put in college professor or something. Okay. Oops. And here it is. So post-secondary teachers, and then we have, I don't know why it went to this goofy other site, but anyway, there's a bit of an increase, maybe 3% or something like that. Okay, let's see if I can get a regular one. So Bureau of Labor Statistics, and we'll just put education, and maybe it'll bring me up something a little bit different than that. Nope. Okay. Well, what I was trying to get was an actual job, so maybe I could put teacher. And if we look at high school teachers or something like that, 4%, it's increasing a little bit. And then we could maybe, instead of searching on Google, I could just go in here and put in professor, and we'll see if that works any different. So post-secondary teachers, yep. So 9%. So I'm a post-secondary teacher, and then my job growth is 9%. But I'm also a pharmacist. So what I'm telling you, or the kind of take-home point is, yes, the pharmacist profession as we know it is going to have a reduction in jobs, 10,500 or whatever they showed there. Ambulatory care and hospital look to have increases. And then there are other occupations that pharmacists are qualified for, like mine, where I'm a post-secondary teacher, and I teach above the high school level. And while I started in a technical subject, the pharmacy technician training, now I teach chemistry and pharmacology and community college. I've been there for some 12 years, and while many schools are having declines in enrollment, our enrollment actually went up a little bit, simply because I think parents are looking at tuitions of $30,000 and $40,000 and seeing that their student is going to be at home. Well, they expected the student to go, and if they're going to be at home, then why not go to the local community college? And although we have online classes, we still have some labs with some significant safety measures and protocols. I go in on Thursday mornings for half a day to make sure that my students can have the lab experience. And so what I want to do is, instead of saying it's doom and gloom for pharmacists, that really, as we look at the pharmacy degree, start looking in your APPE year, if you're P1, P2, maybe even P3, and start saying, okay, well, what are some non-clinical roles that I might consider? And I've had a wonderful career at the community college I'm at. I feel like I make a difference in helping people get from maybe like my dad was an immigrant, help them succeed, and so forth. So it can be very satisfying what you can do with a pharmacy degree, but I do think that we need to do a little bit better job of getting away from it's all clinical all the time, because there are plenty of non-clinical positions out there. And I think the only thing that really matters is that when you graduate, you have a chance to get a job in a field that you enjoy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a PGY2 trained clinical pharmacist in critical care or something like that. And not that I have anything against that. I'm just saying that there are many professions that would really welcome someone that has the training that we do, especially as you guys are becoming better communicators. So again, if you need help with your letter of intent or anything like that, please contact me by either going to residencyhelp.com or residency.teachable.com/courses, or you can always contact me at tonythepharmacist@gmail.com.